Welcome to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Alison McConnell is out there at Ibrox as Danny Röhl addresses the press for the first time as Rangers manager. Alison, what were the key points that he highlighted today?
Yeah, he spoke about the kind of football that he wants to bring to Rangers. He spoke about playing with an intensity. He was very keen to say that it will come down to game, that he wouldn't want to look much further than short-term objectives in terms of getting a bit of confidence back into the squad and just setting his sights very much on the short term and taking it game by game, building a bit of momentum and just restoring a bit of belief to a squad that he says still has a lot of potential within it.
What was his response to not being the first choice as manager?
Yeah, he was inevitably a little bit coy on that. There was no confirmation really that he wasn't first choice, although I think we can all accept that there were other candidates in the mix. He simply acknowledged the fact that it didn't matter whether he was first, second or third choice. The fact is he's in situation at Ibrox, he has the job and his focus really now is in getting his feet under the desk and getting a tune out of the players that he's inherited. He said he felt as though he took training today, felt as though he could sense an intensity, an urgency, an energy about that squad. So he was very much about what's to come rather than looking back at who had been in the mix. He refused to confirm whether or not he had actually withdrawn from the managerial candidacy when news broke over the weekend that he'd actually he'd taken himself out of the run. He wouldn't confirm that. He just said that talks were always ongoing and that he was impressed with the fight that the Rangers board showed to go and get him and the desire that they showed to get him in, and very much his focus isn't on who else might have been in the running but rather the job that now lies in front of him.
You mentioned there that the focus is very much on winning the next game. Does he elaborate at all on what he wants to achieve short term at the club?
Yeah, short term he just said this is a team that needs to win games. And what he said was that it needs to be back-to-back wins. It needs to be consistent games. He didn't want to look too far ahead. He was asked at one point whether or not it was still a possibility for this team to go and win a title this season. And he said, I'm not going to look as far ahead as that right now. The objective here is for this team to just piece together a few wins, get some confidence back into the squad. And he said if they can do that, if they can win game by game, then things start to look after themselves in terms of the intensity, in terms of momentum, and in terms of where this team can go and the success that they can enjoy. But he was fairly sensible in looking not much further than what's directly in front of him across the next few weeks.
The Rangers fans, of course, have been critical of the type of football they've been seeing so far, especially at Ibrox. Did Danny Röhl elaborate on what type of style the Rangers fans might see from now going forward?
Yes, he spoke about wanting to play an attacking kind of football, bring high energy, intensity. He spoke about high press, all the things I think that fans want to hear. They want to hear that there's going to be this version of free-flowing attacking football. He spoke about that intensity. The proof, of course, will come in the pudding. They've heard very similar very recently. So I think they'll probably reserve judgment. They'll want to wait and see what he can do with the squad that he's got between now and January. They want to wait and see, can he organise them and can they get them winning? He also spoke of the need for a fairly solid defence. We've seen, of course, over the opening weeks of this campaign, that this has been a fairly porous back line from Rangers. Have given up a lot of chances to opposing teams. Have conceded a lot of goals. He spoke about needing to address that too. And I think it will all sound like music to the ears of the Rangers fans, but given what they've been through across recent months, they'll reserve judgment and judge this team when it's on the park.
And just finally then, Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell were alongside Danny Röhl in that press conference. What was their response to some of the questions put to them?
Yeah, they were obviously asked about the criticism that they've been on the end of, some of it fairly toxic at points. We've all seen the banners. We've been here for protest. They spoke about how uncomfortable that has been. However, they also said that the fans were justified in that. They said that the frustration and anger of the Rangers support has been mirrored at boardroom level. They accepted that results haven't been good enough. Andrew Kavanagh said that the club had to take ownership of the decision to appoint Russell Martin. They wanted to get it right. He spoke of him being a good guy, but said they had to acknowledge that they'd got it wrong, take ownership of it. He said they could appreciate why the fans were so angry, insisted that they shared that frustration, they shared that anger, but they also share a vision of taking this club back to where they think it belongs.
Thanks to Alison, who is out there at Ibrox for us. For more updates, be sure to keep up to date across all of our social media channels, and don't forget to subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel.